What up, and welcome back to more Shadow Heart's Koudelka. And before we continue on our exploration of this monastery, let's have a look at our stats. This is after everything that we did last video, as well as some off-screen grinding. I might not show all of these stats at the beginning of each video, and just show the ones that pertain to each character. So the basic stats for each character, then the magic attacks for Koudelka, the weapon skills for Edward, and the fortify spells for James, since that's primarily what I'm doing with these characters. I did learn that upgrading your strength does increase the damage that you do with ranged weapons, so that's something we will be trying out in the future with James. I also wanted to show off the accessories and armor I put on each character that increase our stats. Each character now has a piece of chainmail armor, which is nice. Unfortunately, I can't find any accessories to enhance Edward's strength, since he's our physical fighter.
You always blame everything on the savagery of pagans. Are all men of the cloth like that?
It's senseless to tell you this, but the truth is...
What the?
Well, that was unexpected. I'm guessing that's the same guy that tried to shoot at us before. I think it's time we go track him down and get some answers. But first, we've got a treasure hunt. Not sure what a mummified hand will do, but I'm sure it'll have a purpose at some point. But that's the second time this person has tried to kill us. We cannot let him get away with that. Actually, good camera angle for Koudelka there. There's no intro cutscene, no fanfare. As soon as we get up here, we are thrust into battle against this dude. So it's time to take him down! The first thing we need to do is destroy his cover. I debated which one of these I wanted Koudelka to attack, but she's got some really powerful magic spells, so I figured I would use her to attack the big one. Unfortunately, Edward takes a couple tries to destroy these. And you can see this dude does a lot of damage. I will be fortifying Edward's strength. Since he's up close and personal, I want him to do as much damage as possible. Fortifying your character's vitality might not be a bad idea in this fight either. And fortunately, that will take care of one piece of cover, so we won't have to worry about that anymore. The trouble with this guy is you can't hit him with magic. The game never says why, but I like to assume he has some sort of a magic charm that prevents magic from hitting him. And for some reason, we don't take that off of him after we finish this fight. But that's my headcanon, that's not what's actually going on in the game. And as far as I know, you have to destroy all of his cover before you can actually attack him. He's also dangerous because he's a ranged enemy, which means he can attack everybody, not just Edward. And we're doing okay in terms of health, since I've been grinding a lot. But it's definitely something to keep in mind. And that's the crossbow. It does quite a bit of damage. It has a nice stat buff for James, so that's why I equipped him with it, but I figured since we haven't done any damage to this dude already, I figured I might as well go ahead and take a shot with it just to start doing some damage. Because James and Edward are going to have to be the ones to take him down, since I do technically have a weapon equipped on Koudelka, but that would mean she would have to get close to this guy. Which, him being a ranged enemy might not really matter that much, but I'd rather avoid that if possible. And as you can see, once you get rid of his cover, he doesn't take much effort to put down. Now that that's out of the way, let's go ahead and get some answers!
Thief!
He's been sneaking around in the shadows and sniffing for treasure.
Just like us.
Well, sir, explain yourself. It's as plain as day this ruffian's a bloodthirsty killer who's been chasing us. Where you from, Hamburg? Not that it really matters. You're obviously a dirty immigrant thief. Probably infected with cholera or something, most of you are.
None of your business where I was born, you bastard!
Look, I don't really care where you were born. And I agree. He is a bastard. But tell me, did you kill all these people?
Look, I'm an immigrant. I'm a thief, and maybe I did drop a chandelier on you. But that's just because I wanted the whole pie for myself.
So you did kill all these people?
No, I swear to God. Not your God, bigot.
What do you mean?
It was the couple. The couple who look after this place.
What?
I'm telling you the truth. I've seen them. I've been down here a long time. Usually they use an axe when they catch thieves. The thieves come down here unarmed. They're stupid. They get caught from behind. I'd watch my back if I were you.
Unbelievable.
No, I'm telling you. The lucky ones die on the first strike. I've heard the others screaming through the night, clutching their bellies. I find them in the morning dead. No, I'm telling you, their fingers to their hearts, right through to their organs with the pain. Look, take it or leave it, but I'm telling you the truth. Those two, they're Satan incarnate. I may look shady, but killing's not my style. Look, the more wholesome they look on the outside, the colder and uglier the heart is. Just look at him!
Yeah. Good assessment for a thief.
You're crazy if you believe this scoundrel. This killer's obviously executed hundreds of people. He needs to be turned into the police and judged in a proper forum.
We're crazy. Why? Just because he's an immigrant? Or is it because he's one of the unsaved? That's bull and you know it, you pig-headed old bigot!
What I'm trying to say is...
this guy. Thieves can be exceedingly honest, you know? Still, he did try to kill us. For that.
What did you do that for?
If our lives cease being threatened, then it's a victory for God and all His glory, right? But if we go on letting them attack us, then the filthy, godless pagans win. Which would you like to bet on?
Those are some interesting justifications Edward uses there. In some ways, I can't really blame him. He is trying to protect everybody from this dude who has openly tried to kill them multiple times. And we do get his pistol, which I assume is better than our other one. I hope so because I discarded the other one. Otherwise, we don't learn too much new in that cutscene. We found out who was trying to shoot us before, but that's about it. We already knew that that couple are killers. Granted, we didn't know that they would attack people with an axe, but we could already infer that there was a lot of torture going on. I I had a lot of trouble seeing where Koudelka was in some of these camera angles. But let's see what's behind this door. Hey, look, remember this? The second room in the game. And fortunately, the enemies have not changed, so if you come back here, then you will be facing level 1 enemies. Which can make you feel like a badass given how upgraded we are now. We can take them out quite easily. Unfortunately, I didn't come across some of the ones that I missed showing earlier. But I did get an answer to my question from last video, which was if we would be backtracking. Now, what I did not do here was go up those stairs and show off that map that I neglected to pick up before. I think when I replayed everything from video 1 on this emulator, I might have picked it up, but I don't remember. Give me a break, I've slept since then. So there are 2 places we can use a key we picked up. A red key, one of them is right here. I mentioned this door was locked after we had that soup with the couple last time. And they're nowhere to be seen. But there's another animal statue. This one is a dragon. Technically an animal, a fictitious animal, but an animal nonetheless. Sorry to burst your bubble if you believe in dragons, but they're not real. More enemies that I don't want to waste my time with. The good thing is, for every one of these enemies that we kill, we slowly level up. We will start next video at level 27, unless I do some grinding, which I probably will. I do want to see how beefy I can make our characters. But still, I found these encounters kind of annoying when I was just trying to make game progress. And I'm looking for an item. I think I put this on James, but I can't remember. But it will boost some of your magic stats. So it's a pretty nice accessory to pick up. And we can also get some bullets over here. We will start using the rifle more later. It might be time to get rid of the pistol. I haven't decided though. So this old couple is nowhere to be seen. But we can pick that up. That's related to those mummified girls that are holding that key that I mentioned last video.
Hey, what's this? The Princess Alice? She was a pleasure boat that went down in a terrible accident in the Thames. This one too. And this one. What's going on? They're all the Princess Alice. What is going on?
I'm pretty sure Koudelka mentioned that she's some sort of a spiritual medium. If you go to the right, there's a drawer that has some kind of a mask in it. I found that off screen. I love that stock scream during that cutscene. It reminds me of, if anybody's ever watched The Critical Drinker, he's used that in some of his videos. So that made me laugh. Not really a channel I watch anymore because he got very political. Now we need to backtrack all the way to where we were. So I'll be interested to see what's going on with Koudelka. Clearly she has some different powers. We already know about her healing ability, and of course we've been picking up different magic spells. She did mention earlier that she can allow spirits to possess her. Why anyone would want to do that, I have no idea. This area brings back memories. The start of this LP. So long ago, except really not that long ago. I found climbing up and down these things kind of awkward. Doable, but kind of awkward. Mainly because the camera is so zoomed out, which I understand why it is. But it's so far zoomed out that I have a hard time seeing where Koudelka's facing. I was worried about how to get back here because I wasn't sure that you could go through that door. With all the destruction in that cutscene that we got at the start of the video, I was concerned I wouldn't be able to go back that way. Fortunately, that's not a problem. So at least we are opening up some areas. I always love that in games like Resident Evil or Fatal Frame. When you explore an area, and you start to see how different areas connect to one another. So you'll have an area like we had in this video where it's kind of a mid-game area and it'll connect to an area from the start of the game. I like seeing how these structures are connected. And I didn't realize there's a save point there, which is cool, I guess. Here's a couple of enemies I have not shown. My first encounter with that bat-looking thing was against 3 of them. But they seem to have started mixing up different enemy types. Which is interesting that they're working together. Kind of goes along the theory that I have that that couple is controlling them. We don't have very many crossbow bolts, so I don't want to waste those. And this jumping thing, I don't think I've fought one of these before. I was hoping to get the 2 of them together when I perform a spell, so that I could take them both out at the same time. The bad thing is, that did not happen. The good thing is, Koudelka is extremely overpowered, so it doesn't matter. Fortunately, our guns do some damage against that thing, and Edward should have no trouble finishing it off. Come here, you flying bastard! It's time to give you what for! Put up your dukes! A knuckle sandwich! Ha ha! And that's the other place where we can use that key, and fortunately we can discard it. I mentioned last video there's a cap limit on items you can carry. I don't think game progression items are included in that. I think it's just healing items, accessories, armor, and weapons. I've had to discard a lot of things. During some grinding, I tried to use up some of the weapons since they all break. But I wasn't able to get full use out of them, unfortunately. I can understand why there's a cap limit. It does make sense that you wouldn't be able to hold infinite items, but I kind of wish you could hold infinite items. I guess that encourages you as a player to use the different items you pick up. I'm so used to survival horror and having to conserve everything that I tend to not really want to use anything. So from now on, what I'm going to do is find the best weapons for each element, save those for boss fights, and then use the other weapons up. That's the plan anyways. We'll see if I stick to it. I might not. And if you check this out, this is going to be important. This is one of 2 items that we need to look at. The other one we looked at last video. I wonder if that save point is just added there during this portion of the game, because I don't remember it being there when we got to that room. I could be wrong. More lovely creatures. I'm still trying to get this tornado spell upgraded. I think it's at level 2 at the moment. I'm not sure what the max level for these spells is. Because of course I would like to max them all out if I could. And once again, the monsters in this place prove to be no match for our characters. They may disagree personally, but they make a good team. This is the room that had that other clue, if you want to explore that. And I've also learned that this game has multiple endings, which means I need to figure out how to get the canon ending. Since I do plan on trying the sequel, Shadow Hearts, at some point. Which is technically not a sequel, but kind of is a sequel. It's kind of weird. I think some people call this game Shadow Hearts 0. Koudelka. Well, I wanted backtracking, and we've got plenty of backtracking this video. I really like that camera angle. That's one reason I love fixed camera angle games. You don't get that with modern games, where you're just staring at the character's back the whole time. And again, I just want to make progress, and these enemies keep showing up. But like I said before, it'll all work out because we are leveling up pretty well. I might be over-leveled for some of the stuff that we're doing. I'm not really sure. But I'd rather be over-leveled than under-leveled. Especially since I've heard this game can be quite hard. So far I can only think of one section where I really had some trouble, and a lot of that was because I didn't go back to a fountain and refill my stats. That area I also had trouble seeing Koudelka. And the game is nice and reminds you of the things that you've seen. So we just saw that down in that other room, and the game reminds you of that here. We did one of these in Fear Effect. Fortunately, I don't know if there's a penalty for failing this. In Fear Effect, there was. You would take damage. And that was an annoying puzzle to get through in Fear Effect. And as you can see, the game reminds you of the other one that we saw last video. Very nice of it. This game has some interesting design choices, but it doesn't seem like it goes out of its way to be a dick to the player, which is nice. So far anyways, who knows, that could change. And the game is nice enough to give you a save point. Now we get a new enemy. They look kind of goofy. I don't know how dangerous they are. But the interesting thing about them is they can drop a scroll which will allow you to use a max level spell. I get a water scroll off of it. I assume it's the scroll that I've heard about. I assume since I got a water scroll, that means I can perform the highest level water magic attack. And it doesn't take into consideration your level or your magic either, which is nice. So those are definitely things we want to save up. Fortunately, this thing will succumb to our magic. Most of these fights basically are have James and Edward dick around until Koudelka can charge up a spell to destroy the enemies. That's how most of these are going. Which is fine because she's a badass. While still being feminine. Which is nice. A lot of modern shows and movies seem to be making women more masculine, which is definitely a turnoff. You can have strong female characters that are still feminine. That's my preaching for the video. I won't go any further into that. I like how Koudelka is just not even willing to try solving that puzzle, so you're not allowed to brute force it. So I guess this is some kind of library. Which reminds me of that scene from Scrubs where the janitor is talking to that dude that works in the lunchroom. And the guy says library and strawberry. He clearly wasn't very smart. But the scene was funny. And here's another new enemy. Never seen this thing before. Fortunately, like all the other enemies, like I talked about before, same process. And at this point I forgot to equip Edward with another weapon. That and reloading James's weapons are things I constantly forget to do outside of battle to save turns. The game should do it for me! Fortunately, he did next to no damage to Edward there. I'm still having trouble mixing up James and Edward's names. You guys aren't hearing that because I'm editing it out. That's getting quite annoying. So now that that's out of the way, we can try to make some progress. I might sound a little bit off. I'm dealing with some bad allergies today. My throat feels like it's swelling up. And I've got all kinds of lovely chest stuff. It's annoying. Could be worse, I suppose. So here's another section where I was just trying to go pick up an item so I could make progress and battle. There were times I was making save states and then constantly reloading them to try to avoid battles just because I wanted to keep going. I know it helps us out in the end, but that's what grinding is for. That clock we looked at before seems like something you could do something with, but I tried clicking on it and nothing happened, so I'm guessing it's useless. Just part of the background aesthetic. Huh, let's see what this is all about.
Oh.
December 5, 1895. Rain. I found out that the
320 chickens and 43 pigs were purchased from a supplier in town.
Rain.
How long have you been waiting? To conduct Elaine's resurrection ceremony.
Elaine, I just want to make you happy. Will you marry me?
That woman was Lane. She summoned me here.
So I'm not sure who Elaine is. Hopefully we will learn that later. I'm not sure if you could hear it, because it was under a lot of sound effects, but the guy who was talking during that cutscene mentioned something about Elaine's resurrection ceremony, and that he just wants to sleep with his wife. And I don't think they mean sleep as in have sex with, although he probably wants that too. So that's interesting. I'm guessing that's our next subplot since the guy shooting at us is now dead. Another save point. This is another room where I really wanted to just come in here, pick up the 2 items, and leave. But this thing can give us another scroll, so probably not a bad thing to kill. And I can definitely tell we've leveled up Tornado. It looks a little bit beefier now. I'm not sure if we will be getting any more spells later on. I'm guessing not. Granted, I don't think we have a bad variety of spells. I think we got quite a few good ones to work on. And anybody watching this who knows my channel might be surprised I haven't really complained about this game. Most games I have a lot of complaints about. This one I'm quite enjoying. Kind of like with Eternal Darkness, which I played last year. And I've already forgotten what else I've LP'd this year. A Silent Hill and a Tenchu game. Actually, yeah, I had a lot of fun with Silent Hill as well. Here's another situation where I was actively trying to avoid battles. So those animal statues that we've been picking up go in that door. And there's a save point. I recommend using it. Because we get a boss fight. I did some research on this thing, and apparently if you don't know what you're doing, this thing can be quite dangerous. This is the first encounter where I actually notice a status effect on one of my characters. While grinding, talking to the game's librarian, he noticed a few of them that I just never really paid attention to. So I do take the time to cure that. Bit of a spoiler for the fight. So we're going to use this, I'm going to call it a monolith ability. I think it's called something else, but it's essentially an earth attack. I've got an earth-based weapon on Edward. And I'm going to be using James to fortify Edward's strength and vitality. And you can see that does a lot of damage. I also read that it's good to keep James and Koudelka away from this thing as much as possible. It might not be as bad considering how much I've been grinding, which means I've given them a lot more health. But I decided to take the advice nonetheless, as best I could. But there's really not anywhere I can move to get them away from this thing. That looks like a water ability of some kind. Kind of reminds me of our water spell. Alright, buddy. Time to give you a poke. Haha! Didn't like that, did ya? Okay, I didn't like that one. Damn it! Stupid monster. I was really surprised I could attack right away. Usually it switches to somebody else. Alright, time to give you another dose of Koudelka's special sauce. This is the first time that I can think of where I noticed James getting attacked. Most enemies leave him alone. And this is what I was talking about before, where I noticed he was hit with silence. But fortunately, we have a million of the items that cure that effect. So it's all good, baby! I think they might cure all status effects, but I'm not sure. Alright, buddy, I hope you enjoy this! I don't think he enjoyed Koudelka's special sauce. Nor should he, since it killed him. Either way, now we've activated another fountain, so we can save our game. And thank you very much for watching, and I will see y'all next time with more Koudelka.